Hey everyone, welcome back to Rationable Conversations. Today we have Shivani, otherwise known as ADHD.yar, on Instagram. And she has been talking a lot about ADHD and making a lot of content about, understanding ADHD and going through it also. You know that one of the missions of my channel is to not only spread awareness about mental health, but also especially about ADHD because I have it, deal with it. Right. Shivani, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad I'm here.
I am so glad you're here as well. And this all worked out really quickly, by the way, guys. So we just had a conversation. What is it? A couple of weeks back,
Yes.
and here we are. We're in the studio, which is not something that happens very often. But this time is going to be absolutely fantastic. And promise, there's not going to be too much skepticism and stuff like that involved. We're going to be having a very chilled conversation. So this is going to be lots of fun. So Shivani, tell me about your story. When did you? Where have you been all my life? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. So when did you get diagnosed with ADHD?
Okay, first I'll tell you why I got diagnosed.
Oh yeah, even better.
So I started to live with my husband, and I thought this guy's so weirdo, IITian, nerd, पढ़ाई करता है सिर्फ, डांस नहीं करना आता, गाना नहीं गाता, पता नहीं क्या है, पुराने गाने सुनता है, इंग्लिश गाने सुनता है, करण जौहर की मूवीज नहीं देखता. I was like full weirdo,
Very
ठीक है.
sad.
And slowly I realized that his friends were also like him. And then I was like, what a set of weirdos. सब पढ़ाई करते हैं, normal बात करते हैं, बीच बीच में उछलते नहीं हैं. And then I met more people and more people and more people. And slowly the realization dawned upon me that I
You were the
am
weird.
probably the weirdo. And it was not even funny because I was like, एक मिनट, ये बाकी सब लोग कर ले, मतलब शायद ये normal है और शायद this, what is happening with me is not normal, because how come he's not forgetting things? How come he always remembers to do everything in the exact right order? How come he takes things out and puts them back in place? And he remembers the place that they were originally in.
Oh
How
my
come he
God.
shuts the cupboard doors?
He's so normal. Sorry.
I was like, is this normal? Am I not like, why are his clothes always inside the cupboard? Mine are never in the cupboard. Like, my cupboard is empty, my bed is full. So I was constantly being reminded of the fact कि यार ये तुम जो कर रही हो वो शायद सब लोग नहीं करते हैं उस तरीके से. And I'm also an only child. So growing up, I didn't see that. Plus, my parents are not around that much. They were both working. So I only had me. Didn't have much to notice. And obviously, the friends that I made also have ADHD. They're now being diagnosed.
It's amazing how the connection happens way easier with people who
Exactly.
are similarly brained.
Yes, and it makes so much sense now because I feel like मेरे को दूसरों की बातें ही समझ नहीं आती थी, पर इसकी बात समझ आ जाती थी. उसको भी
Yeah.
ADHD है, different type का है, but है उसको भी.
हाँ.
So that is great. And then one day I had this crazy conversation with a friend of my husband who's also my friend now. Just over coffee, I was like, you know what? I'm not an extrovert. And he's like, are you kidding? Obviously, I mean, you're the definition of an extrovert. I was like, no, what is the definition of an extrovert? He's like, somebody who recharges when they're around people.
Mm.
I'm like, absolutely
Exactly opposite.
no. I love being around people. I enjoy being the center of attention. I love performing in front of people. I enjoy having a lot of conversations, random conversations, finding out the kind of person they are, what is interesting about them. But I'm drained after that conversation. I need time to recharge. I need my space. For years, I thought it was just because I'm an only child and I like recharging alone because that's what I'm used to. That's my habit. That's what I thought. But I realized it's just that I'm not an extrovert.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy having conversations with people that much. In fact, I hate being in big groups. Anybody who knows me from school, from college, they'll be like, Shivani, seriously, you have to be kidding because you were always in a larger group.
Yeah, when I brought this up with my friends, they were like, you're not an extrovert. I mean, you're not an introvert. You're definitely an extrovert. You've got You go, your party, you're the life of the party, your friends. And I was like, have you seen how many parties do I have? 2 in the year. And at that party, after like, I need serious help to get through a party. So, like, for example, on New Year's, I had taken Inspiral is one of these medicines. It's prescribed. Okay. Just saying, I did take it one dose before the party started, and that kept me going through the party. And I was like, I was fine. Anything else, I would be halfway through, I'd be like, okay, guys, I'm going to bed. And I'd be out. And it's just, that's the way it has been most of my life, even though most people don't agree that I'm an introvert. But I totally get that. But didn't you have any trouble in school, in studies and stuff like that? No?
Actually, I'm only noticing all these things now, right? I didn't realize all these things back then because one, my parents were slightly weird in these aspects. They wouldn't compare me to other children,
Oh,
which is
goodness.
which is great.
Wow, you got lucky.
Which is great. No, they've traumatized me in other ways.
Oh,
so
okay, that's fun.
they've balanced it out.
That's fine.
But because they didn't compare me to other children, I always thought I was doing okay. And I was always very confident about the fact that अच्छा ठीक है चलो मैथ्स में मार्क्स नहीं आते तो क्या हुआ हिस्ट्री में तो आते हैं केमिस्ट्री अच्छी नहीं है तो क्या हुआ बायोलॉजी तो अच्छी है and what if I'm not good I'm an average 40% below average student but I'm a really good dancer. I participate in so many competitions and such, and I win every time. And I'm so good at it, and I'm good at sports, and so it never occurred to anybody that there could be a problem with this child, even though there were signs. I learned how to do the long division thingy that you learn. So you're supposed to learn that in higher KG, I think. I learned that in class 2. I clearly remember where I was sitting, what I was doing when I learned long division because it felt like an achievement. And there was only this one teacher who could explain it to me. And I'm surprised that my parents didn't notice that this child is not able to do something very basic for her age at that point in time. It's possible because they're also not very educated. So they might not have thought about it in that manner. They might have just thought that maybe she's just not paying attention or the teacher is not good.
And during my childhood, I don't think we even knew what ADHD was. And it was purely about hyperactivity. So, and I'm 45. But so when I was in school, nobody had a clue about what ADHD was. And I didn't find out until 3 years ago.
You know what?
2 years ago.
I have a me too 2 years ago. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. I have my first cousin. My first cousin's mom is a teacher. And she's a good teacher, I'm assuming. When my first cousin was born, he was diagnosed with ADD. At that time, there was ADD. And everybody in the family was, तुम जबरदस्ती इसको diagnose करवा रही हो and ये सब कुछ नहीं होता and ये नहीं होता and वो नहीं होता. But I clearly remember he was slightly higher on the spectrum. So even his eyes wouldn't stop moving. There was constant eye movement. And obviously because of that, it was very difficult for him to be able to do anything properly. He was not able to focus at all. And then he was put on medication very early on in his life. Because of which then he started getting better and better and better and better. Now he's doing well. Now he's completely fine. Completely fine matlab kya? He's much better.
Figured out his coping mechanisms.
Yeah, definitely. So I give a lot of credit to her. And when I got diagnosed, the first thing that popped in my head was this is probably genetic.
Yeah.
Because if he had it, and if I have it, and I'm pretty sure both my parents have it.
Yeah.
So then it's definitely genetic.
Yeah, so the reason why I got diagnosed is because my ex-wife kept telling me, why are you so forgetful? Why are you so absent-minded? Why are you so forgetful? Why are you so absent-minded? Why do you... It's just constantly about that. And of course, I'd also zone out in the middle of one of her 45-minute long runs. And I'd be like, She'd be like, what do you say? What was I telling you last? I don't remember. So we had a lot of fights when it came to this. And so finally I messaged my psychiatrist. I was already undergoing treatment for depression. So I messaged my psychiatrist and I was like, so why am I forgetful? Why am I absent-minded? Because is it a hereditary thing? Is it just a bad habit? Is it my personality? Because I know my dad is very absent-minded. His brother is even more absent-minded. And he's like one of those nutty professor type people, or the absent-minded genius who just kind of loses his way in an airport and gets lost and stuff like that. Very cute chap. But I was like, what is going on? So she's like, have you been screened for ADHD? I said, no.
Is this a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist, okay.
So she's like, come into my office, we'll do it. So I was like, all right. So I filled out the questionnaire. This is basic questionnaire. She looked through it. She was like, you definitely have ADD. You don't have the hyperactivity part of it.
Okay.
But you have the rest of it. And I was like, wow, that blew my mind. The rest of the last 2 years have just been me looking at every single aspect of my life and saying, oh, that's why.
Oh my God, same.
Yeah.
Same. Oh my God, every single day. I'm like, oh my, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, my husband is like, kya hua?
I just figured something out.
Yeah. One day in the washroom, I was like, my husband's like, are you okay?
This
Like,
is why
yes.
it's weird.
I'm just realizing something right now which happened like 10 years back and
Yeah.
why it happened.
And I'm so, I get so obsessed with it that I'm like, and I have friends who have ADHD, of course. And I have my best friend, you know who you are. She lives with a guy who's also ADHD, but very different type of ADHD from
right.
me.
Yeah.
He's a maths genius. Like he's like a business analyst.
Okay.
So no problem there. But he's got the hyperactivity thing and he's got all the things that he's scattered about and forgetful about and stuff like that. So we kind of, when she keeps, she was like, oh, you forgot something again. And he was like, I know, I'm sorry. So I'd be like, don't be so hard on him. It's just ADHD. And then every other thing when it came to me or him, I'd also say, it's ADHD, it's ADHD, it's ADHD, it's ADHD. She's like, dude, will you just shut up about the ADHD already? Like, take some responsibility. I said, that's just ADHD. I can't take responsibility for it. It's just the way my brain works. So can't help it.
So
But it's that very hard to draw the line between. There is no line between you and your ADHD.
Yeah, there is
it
no
is.
line. Yeah, there's
it's
no
just is a part of the way you are.
So I'll tell you what, one very funny thing happened. There is this community that I've created now.
Yes,
Because
very lovely
everybody
community.
was we feel like we need some support, especially women. Because women and ADHD is again a whole other thing. Because there's so many
Yeah.
other things involved, so many hormones involved. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I did it on Hyperfocus, of course. Ended up doing it, created it. And the funniest thing that comes out of the conversation every day is that we all thought we were so special. Okay?
Yeah.
Because at least throughout my childhood, and especially high functioning ADHDers, high functioning, have always been told, तुम इतना सब कुछ कैसे कर लेती हो? तुम्हें ये भी करना आता है, तुम्हें वो भी करना आता है, तुम्हें फलाना भी करना आता है. How can you do so many things together? Because they don't get to see the burnout after that.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't get to see the just days of just lying. कुछ नहीं कर सकते, उठ भी नहीं सकते. Physically hurts to get up now. So
Yeah.
for me, it's gotten so bad that I'm physically not able to get up when I'm burnt out.
Jeez.
Yes. Also, I think because I'm much more aware of it. पहले मेरे को बस
Yeah.
ये लगता था that probably I'm just tired. But
Yeah.
technically, yes. But I'm like burnt out. Can't even eat anymore and things like that. So when I read that on the group, I also do the same thing. I also do the same thing. I also do the same thing. I'm also a poet, a writer, an analyst. I have a law degree. I'm a criminal psychologist. I'm like, what is going on? And they have no connection to each other whatsoever.
Absolutely.
It's not like you're a writer and like a novelist and a poet and a storytelling artist and a spoken word artist. ऐसा नहीं है.
Mhm.
कहीं भी कुछ भी है.
Absolutely.
Because that interested you, so you just went for it.
Exactly.
Which is very random.
Yeah, that is. I think that's probably one of the best, like absent-mindedness and forgetfulness, and this ability to do 10 different things is. I think these are the two like hallmarks of ADHD,
True.
which don't really coexist. But then that's the fun of it. I mean, without either one, it's not fun.
Do you feel like,
But because but the thing is, it's with me, it's primarily hobbies. I've always changed jobs because I never figured out what I wanted to do until now, until I finally had the studio and I'm like, this is it.
beautiful studio?
Thank you very much. So otherwise, the rest of my life has been, I've done, I've sold heaters, I've done rural marketing, I've done an MBA, I've done sales promotion, which is another weird thing that happens in life insurance. Then I did an MA in writing. Then I
Oh,
became a
wow.
copywriter in advertising. Then I went into the corporate world to make content writing. So, okay, writing was a kind of thing. But I also do voiceovers and I love doing astrophotography, and which is again completely random out of the blue. And then I do like doing science communication, which is like, where the hell did science communication come from?
Hmm.
So, yeah, same thing.
So there is a theme to all of this. Technically,
Mhm.
if you think about it, it's patterns, right? So the pattern would be that you're always doing something which requires you to create
Mhm.
always.
Indeed. It is
Or
a creative thing.
either create
Hmm.
or do really deep research.
Yeah. And then the deep research is so amazing, but that is something that completely burns me out.
Yes, definitely. But I feel like research should I use the word should? I don't know. Should be done like that. Because there are so many threads to research.
Yeah, but I've gotten so so many episodes that I've researched and I've written about for my channel and for my website, that now I've got completely like, I can't even look at doing research anymore. I'm like, okay, I need somebody else to do this because I can't like start researching on what the effects of vitamin C are on the human body, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing it. So
You get the ick.
Mhm. So now I have ChatGPT.
Makes sense. Okay. So for anybody who has ADHD, okay,
Yeah,
I'm also a marketer. Okay, I do brand
Hmm.
marketing in general in life.
I've
Marketing,
done that
brand
also.
marketing, content marketing, social
Yeah.
media marketing. Okay. Chat GPT, I use Perplexity or
Oh yeah,
Claude. I think Claude writes really well.
really?
Claude does write really well.
It's too expensive.
Perplexity is that's
Anyway, carry on.
I love Perplexity because all I need to do is open one of the thingies and just say whatever I want to say on voice.
Mm.
And then I tell Perplexity to just tell me what I just told you in a structure. That's it. That's all I need. Because I have so many thoughts and they're coming out of me so quickly. Sometimes my one thought is interrupting the other thought. And then I can't
Yeah,
make sense of it. And if I have to write it, my hand starts shivering because I can't write so quickly.
yeah.
It's another, by the way, another thing.
Horrible handwriting.
Handwriting was a dead giveaway that there's
Yeah,
something is wrong with your child
absolutely.
because your child can't do basic cursive writing even after being thrashed by.
Yes.
There was a teacher who, used to have those notebooks where we would write.
Yeah.
She tore two of my
Wow.
notebooks,
Oh my God.
which had the exact same thing. तो एक बार एक फाड़ा
Hmm.
and she said इसको दोबारा लिख के आओ. ऐसे कभी कॉपी कहाँ से करेंगे, हमने तो फाड़ दिया. But
It's just got ABCD in it. And it's like,
नहीं, I was in class 5.
okay.
It had like geography or something in it.
Yeah.
दूसरी बार भी फाड़ दिया. And that's when I was like, okay, now I have to do it in better handwriting. So then I did that one whole year with very good handwriting.
You managed a whole year.
A whole year.
I can't manage 5 seconds.
But after that, there was this again wapas downfall because I constantly knew I'm thinking so quickly, I can't write so quickly. It's not possible.
Yeah. Plus, every second word I have to rewrite because I've spelt it wrong, even though I know the spelling.
Yes.
And
And I've written it in some weird. I only can't read what I've written.
exactly, I can't either. So the weird part was that some of my teachers did say, does he have like some sort of syndrome where he's just not being able to hold his pencil or something like that, or his pen, because I can't understand what he's writing. He's writing above the line, he's writing below the line, he's going all over the place. If I didn't know better, and my teachers have said this or equivalent to this. If I didn't know better, he would be a doctor, but his scores aren't good enough. So I was like, doctor wali handwriting, but not doctor wali scores. So I obviously I got horrible marks throughout everything. I wanted to do science, but I did commerce, and it was horrendously. I did the IELTS as well, and that damn thing is handwritten in this day and age, even though that was 15
Yeah,
years
it
ago.
is. Yes.
But
I did IELTS as well.
so I got top marks in everything except for the writing one. But they make you write in a pencil.
Get it. I totally get it. Yes.
But the TOEFL, which is TOEFL is the computerized one, right?
I have not given the TOEFL. I don't know.
TOEFL was completely computerized. I aced it. No problem. English is my thing. English has always been my thing. So I managed to ace that, and that's why I did my MA in writing afterwards. But
makes sense.
Yeah, so I just realized I cannot do notebooks and pens. Even if I did notebooks and pens, I will screw it up so badly because I won't be able to understand what I've written.
There was this one reel that I saw. So this is not research based. So I'll have to research it. But something that said that the way you hold your pen is also a dead giveaway of ADHD or ASD, because I hold my pen like that. And all my friends hold their pen in a very different, sophisticated manner. So they tried a lot कि भाई तुम पेन ही गलत पकड़ रही हो तो तुम किस तरीके से लिख पाओगी, नहीं लिख सकती तुम.
There are these weird people who hold it like in this weird.
Yeah, I also don't know. So there are 3 fingers used. I only use 2 fingers. So I'm not very sure.
I look perfectly normal when I'm writing.
Yeah,
it's just that what I'm writing just goes completely off.
I don't know. I have zero research on this, but I just remembered. So I said this. Another thing was, I did a lot of, so I used to dance a lot in school, and I did a lot of theatre acting in college. And acting comes very naturally to me. And I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
And I started trying to explain it to people and be like, acting ही तो करनी है, मतलब ये तो हम लोग रोज करते हैं. They're like, एक मिनट, रोज कौन acting कर रहा है? And I'm like, तुम अपने parents के सामने acting नहीं करते? And they're like, नहीं.
And many years later, you find out it's called masking.
Exactly. Oh my God. I'm so good at masking that I was really good at theatre.
So I'm a voice actor as well. I mean,
yes.
Okay, I've got my first job as a voice actor, so now I can officially call myself a voice actor. Thank you very much. So I got this because there's a friend of mine in the US who is a stuntman, an actor, and a dialect coach.
Oh, wow.
He's autistic and probably also has ADHD, but more autistic than ADHD. And he was like, yeah, this is the neurodiverse thing.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He said acting and mimicry. Like when you can behave like someone else, when you copy accents, when you copy voices, that is something that people who are neurodiverse have a tremendous amount of skill in. So he said, welcome to the club.
Because we've been doing it since forever. No?
Exactly. And that is such a mind-blowing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole, like, I was trying to show a friend of mine that of a picture of me at a party where I was totally masking and behaving as if I was really excited about the conversation I was having. And I think Aryan took a picture of me at that point of time. And I looked at the picture and I was like, look at me. Like, I'm just acting weird. Like, I'm just talking to someone in this overtly excited way. And it's so fake. And they look at me and they're like, well, that's just you, man. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like, this year has been the last 365 days approximately have been me realizing all the things I mask at, whatever it is.
Yeah.
All the things that I mask from or with or whatever the hell it is. For. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, so, and also I have been discovering a lot about burnout and things like that, as you're saying. Like, I have...
Oh, yes.
Like, this studio has been I've been pretty much constantly burnt out for the last 6 months. So I take a lot of naps. Anubhav will attest to that. But when I'm on it, I'm on it. Burnout or no, I'm like in the job.
Again, masking, right?
But I'm still, I have to do that.
Yeah. So, I'll just realize that I'd forgotten what I was talking about.
Yes, as we do.
See, as we do. So burnout is how I realized that if I don't get a diagnosis now, I have a friend. You remind me of a friend. Prachir reminds me of Prachir, right? Yeah. We worked with him. So he was also pretty sure he has ADHD. Pretty sure. And we were both single children. So we had a lot of like uski bhi common cheez hai. I remember him asking me, why do you want to get a diagnosis? अब तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता ना. And there was this project that I was working on. I was working with a mentor and I was really excited about the project. But the mentor said, अगले 1 महीने के लिए सिर्फ यही करना है और कुछ नहीं कर सकती. और कोई तुम्हें और कोई काम नहीं देगा. सिर्फ ये करना है जब तक ये खत्म नहीं हो जाता. 1 महीने, 2 महीने, 4 महीने, I don't care. You can't do anything else.
Wow.
And I remember breaking down every single day. Every single day I had a breakdown. Every single day. Because I was like, but I want to do something else. I could physically feel myself wanting to just peel my skin off and be like, मेरे को कुछ और करने दो, please.
I know the feeling.
It was crazy. I used to call my friend and just cry and cry and cry. What do I do? What do I do? And she, of course, my friend thought that it was a toxic workplace problem. As would anyone else, right? मेरे boss ने मेरे को बोला सिर्फ यही कर सकते हो तुम. Actually, there's something wrong with what he wanted me to do. But that made me, the aftermath of that was, I realized, I was like, this is what normal people, neurotypical people are supposed to do. They're supposed to do one thing repeatedly or one project they're supposed to complete at one time.
Exactly.
Which I've never done. I don't do. I do 3 things at the same time. And ये भी चल रहा है, ये भी चल रहा है, ये भी चल रहा है, and वो हो रहा है, तो हो जाता है, ठीक है. That is when I was like, okay, now I need a diagnosis. Because, ठीक है, even without a diagnosis, you can survive. ऐसा नहीं है. And I've recently heard a lot of horrible stories of how people are not getting diagnosed. Yes. They are being refused diagnosis in India. Yeah, they're being refused diagnosis. There was this one girl, and she told me she was 18, but I'm guessing she might be 16 also, because why will she tell me she's, a minor? But she's on Instagram and she told me, she messaged me, she said, Didi, I thank you so much. आप videos बनाते हो, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है. I feel very, like I can relate. I feel like somebody is like me. There are other people like me. But I told my parents that I have ADHD. And I told them कि मेरे को लेकर जाओ आप diagnosis करवाने. And the person, the mental health professional that she went to said, कुछ ADHD नहीं है तुम्हें, सिर्फ बच्चों को हो सकता है. You are an adult, तुम्हें नहीं है और तुम घर वापस जाओ.
Wow.
और तुम्हें कुछ भी नहीं है, in fact.
Oh my God.
And ये एक बार हुआ और ये दूसरी बार हुआ. So now the problem is that her parents, and because she's a minor, right? So she can't do much by herself. She requires adult supervision, especially for medication, if she needs medication. Now her parents are like, no, we don't believe you. Which is really bad.
Yeah,
it's really bad. And you would think this is just one person. I've had at least 6 people text me the exact same thing. And they were all girls.
Jeez.
All girls. And
What
these
is
are
our country coming to?
18, 19. They're so young. Children. 18, 19 is what, child only.
Yeah, basically.
So I felt really, I got so upset because my experience of a diagnosis was great. I was like, wow, ये तो बहुत cool है, सबको करवाना चाहिए.
And I've been diagnosed twice.
Twice?
Well, yeah. I mean, so first with a psychiatrist. And then I think it was about 6 weeks ago, I did a full diagnostic assessment of like multiple tests for mental health, aptitude, IQ, everything. And because I thought I had dyscalculia.
Okay.
Because I'm so bad at maths, I thought I had dyscalculia. I thought I had dysgraphia as well because of my handwriting.
Okay, what is dysgraphia? I'm sorry.
Dysgraphia is essentially, from what I understand, it is that hand-eye coordination problem.
Okay.
And also, like, you can't handle small objects and stuff like that.
So you can't visualize what you can't put to paper what you visualize. Something like that?
No, it's just that you want to write in a certain way and your hand kind of goes
and your
all over
hand
the
is
place.
not coordinating with
Exactly.
You. Okay, got it.
So, because I've had girlfriends who are like, oh, do this necklace thing for me. And I'm like, and it just becomes an absolute pain.
Right.
And I love working with my hands. So, like, putting together tables like this production table, I screwed this whole thing together.
Okay. This.
Yeah, this thing.
Okay,
So
great.
I put everything together, but then I keep dropping the screwdrivers and I keep dropping the Allen keys and stuff like that. But I love doing it. But then I get my hands cramped up all over the place. So I thought maybe I have something, but they didn't have a dysgraphia screening. They did have dyscalculia, and I don't have
You don't have it.
dyscalculia.
Yeah. No.
I'm just bad at maths.
I just have to disagree. Look, nobody can.
Under certain circumstances.
Just, I think philosophically, I would disagree. I don't think anybody is bad at anything. It's just they have not understood it well enough because they were not explained. That thing was not explained
exactly
to them
in
well
an
enough.
adequate way.
Yeah.
Like, for example, algebra.
Yeah.
I could never understand what is a variable. So when I was in school, and I'd be like, what is a variable? She's like, a thing that varies. I'm like,
That doesn't make any sense.
make any sense, man. Like, so this is a constant. What is a constant? It's a number. It's a constant number. So like, this is a variable. It keeps changing. I'm like, but why does it keep changing? And then she'd be like, Avijit, shut up. And that would be the end of that.
So I might go into bitch rant mode now.
Go into it.
But I swear to God, if I meet any teacher who's taught me when I was in school, I am going to choose violence on that day.
Ooh. God.
There's nothing else I would do because
Watch out.
not only have you annoyed the shit out of me when I was in school, you've also you've tried because I didn't get humiliated, but you tried your best to humiliate me because I couldn't solve a sum that you've been solving for the last 50 years. Bro, come on. I'm 16 years old. How can you have beef with a 16-year-old, yaar?
I know, seriously.
You are like 5 times to nahi. See, great math. 3 times my age at least.
I had a biology teacher who was like that.
Yeah.
Biology was one of my favorite subjects. And
Me too.
There you go. And I knew metamorphosis and I knew about, I'm forgetting everything now. Anyway, but I knew everything. I would get really good. I know that I've done well in a test.
Yeah.
And this woman would purposely give me bad marks.
Yes.
Just because she don't like how I look.
Yes.
And this is just
Or
horrible.
there's another thing. So with math, there was this only one person, one teacher. Thank you, Kuldeep sir. Kuldeep sir was like God for me. And that is the day when I scored 86 in my ICSE math exam.
Wow.
Theek
That
hai?
is not easy.
That is not easy. Because all my life I had 40, 41, 39, 38, 35. Obviously, I was also a little like, इन्होंने तब कुछ marking में गलती तो नहीं कर दिया. What is this? But I realized that day that I'm not bad at math. I'm not a bad student. My teacher is a bad teacher.
Yeah.
Because Kuldeep sir taught it to me. I only had one question when I was learning math. And I'm talking about this because if there is a kid out there listening to this conversation for whatever reason, they should know that there's nothing wrong with them. And if there is, they should get diagnosed. But there is still a way. Even if you have ADHD, even if you have autism, there is a way for people to speak to you and make you get stuff. So I just used to ask my teachers कि आप ये जो formula बता रहे हो a square plus b square is equal to जो भी है ठीक है वो क्यों है ये बता दो बस मेरे को कुछ नहीं जानना. Just tell me why. I'll do everything else on my own. But no teacher did, no teacher could.
Yeah.
And they would humiliate me because I've asked a question. And I only realized all this now, which is so sad. I spent my entire life thinking I'm bad at math, I'm bad at being scared of math. Even doing 9 plus 3 on my calculator because क्या पता गलती हो जाए.
Exactly. Same
जबकि
here.
नहीं हो सकता. And my husband made me realize this because the other day he was just like, so I come from a business family. ठीक है. So he said, इतने पैसे से इतने पैसे, इतने पैसे से इतने पैसे, तो ये कितना हुआ? I'm like, हाँ उसका 22% हुआ. And he's like, sorry, what? I was like, huh, obviously. And my husband is an IITian. So he was like, so if you talk to me in money terms, I can answer maths अच्छे से. Because for me, it's very basic.
With me, if you add the money term to it, everything falls apart. I can't do anything. Like, how much did this cost? Uh, I bought it 5 minutes ago. I have no idea. I will have to look. So it's exactly the opposite with me. But I mean, lucky you.
I just feel that and I think it's because my father explained accounts to me.
Ah,
And accounts was part of my day to day life. And my father would always explain things in a manner that would make sense to me. It's probably because he also has ADHD, but
wonderful.
probably. But he would explain things to me in a very simplified manner, or something that I thought was a simplified manner, because he probably also got it. So, this is what I'm trying to say. There is a way to explain everything to everybody.
Absolutely.
If you're a teacher, you have to figure it out. It's literally your job to figure it out. There are
Absolutely.
so many neurodivergent kids. Now I know there were so many of my classmates who were neurodivergent, had ADHD, inattentive, hyperactive, combined type. Somebody must have had ASD, somewhere on the spectrum. But you have zero tools. Zero tools. Just a B.Ed degree is enough. You have zero tools. And even after you have zero tools, you have no humility.
And there's no awareness that these conditions either exist or that they're legitimate. Because
Yeah.
there's so little awareness about these things.
Yes.
Because when I'm trying to explain to somebody what ADHD is, they say, वो तो मेरे साथ भी होता है.
हाँ, ये तो सबके साथ होता है.
हाँ,
थोड़ा
even
थोड़ा
I forget
ADHD तो
about things.
सबको होता है, थोड़ा थोड़ा ADHD.
हाँ.
I hate that line. I remember somebody asking me, Shivani, I love that you have to go to the gym, otherwise you will not be able to do any work, because that way you stay motivated. I'm like, is this what?
Oh.
You understand that this is an actual disability. If I don't go to the gym, which means if I'm sick, I have to go to the gym. If I'm underfed, I have to go to the gym. If I'm absolutely traumatized, I have to go to the gym. Because if I don't, I can't get any work done because I can't focus only.
Really?
Yeah.
The gym is your thing?
Lifting weights is my thing.
Wow.
So if I don't lift heavy enough weights, I can't focus. Which is great because then I stay fit. But it's really problematic because then if I've slept 3 hours, even then I have to go to the gym.
I really need to get this going then. This is short. I have a gym. Like, I have no excuses.
I have a theory for this also. Going to the gym is meditative for me because it deletes thoughts from my head, because I have to constantly focus on one, two, breathe in, breathe. There's so many things to focus on that I can't think about anything else. So it becomes very meditative for me, which is why it helps me focus better. I'm sure there are like weightlifting benefits also. No shade to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exercise is supposed to have one of the best effects on ADHD possible. Especially
the hyperactive kind. So I'm ADHD hyperactive.
Yeah. I'm inattentive. So
yes.
Anyway. But what is it like? So I have friends who suspect that they have ADHD, but they're not getting diagnosed for whatever reason. Like, what would you tell them? And they're both women. Okay.
So I feel that if you're a woman, life is already very complex for you. Because there's so many things that are constantly going on. No week is the same. No day is the same. Yeah. Every day you have a different mood. Some day you're pre-menstrual, some day you're post-menstrual, some day you're menstrual. Then there is only 1 week left where you are just like regular. And you sometimes don't remember what that regular is. And usme bhi agar aap pregnant ho jao, ya you are in postpartum, ya you've miscarried, it can just completely, you can lose it completely. I've been there. I've been in places where I almost wanted to be like, can I just end this? Because I can't deal with this. Like, life is so full of, I'm a very happy person in general. So these thoughts feel really weird to me. Because I'm like, I don't want to live. I really want to live, but I don't want to live this life anymore. So can I have some punarjanam stuff going on somehow? कि भाई just थोड़ा सा कुछ change कर दो और मेरे को वापस rebirth दे दो. I'll start from scratch again. Diagnosis लेना just helps you understand whether there is something wrong or not. It's as simple as, let's say you have a headache every day for the last year, for the past year. Okay? Every day you've had a headache. And every day you eat one Saradon, aspirin, जो भी आप खाते हो, आप खाओ और आप chill करो. So you're living, you're surviving. What will happen? One aspirin will do nothing to you. Okay, you're fine. You're fine. Technically, you're fine.
Yeah.
But don't you think it would be better if you just figured out why you're getting the headache and then just treat the cause of the headache instead of treating the headache again and again?
Yeah.
I had a crazy migraine problem. I would treat the headache. I realized my migraine problem is because of dehydration. I realized my dehydration problem is because of my ADHD, because I forget to drink water. So the solution is not to force myself into hydration or to eat migraine ki dawai or to wear yellow wale film wale Blu-ray wale glasses. The solution is to keep 4 filled bottles in front of me at all times so I don't forget. And I'm forced to drink. I even got one of those duplicate Stanley Cup thingies, so it makes it easier for me to drink water.
I have those huge
The
Syntex tank looking
Yes,
jugs
yes,
of water.
yes.
I have those
Yes.
which I keep like one next to my bed, one on the dining table.
Correct.
Keeps
So it's just it helps you create systems. So I am a true believer of if you have ADHD, you have to manage it. You have to learn how to manage it.
Yeah.
Because see, medication is a choice. I'm all for medication, but because from my understanding, it doesn't work the same on everyone. Obviously, because all types of ADHD are different and then a lot of other things are involved.
Yeah.
तो हो सकता है आप पे काम ना करे, फिर आप क्या करोगे? Will you just give up? नहीं है मेरे को अब ऐसे ही रहेगी मेरी life. No. You have to do both. You have to go for therapy. You have to have your medication or not. That's your choice. But therapy for sure, because it helps you navigate your ADHD. And managing your life, creating processes, creating systems which help you live your life in a way that is easy for you. I feel like every person who's neurodivergent is constantly trying to convert into a neurotypical and live their life the neurotypical way.
That is not possible.
कैसे हो सकता है यार? आप पेड़ हो, आपकी ट्रंक है बड़ी सी ब्राउन कलर की, आप हिरन बनना चाहते हो, आप कितना भी कुछ भी कर लो, it's not possible. You don't have the movement, you don't have the body, you have stuck to the ground in a spot. Can't do that. It's not possible. Just learn whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve by being any animal, anything. You can achieve by doing other things. A lot of people say I have ADHD, so I can't sleep at night and I can't wake up in the morning, obviously, because I can't sleep at night. So I get up at 11 and then I do my day normally. कि 11 बजे उठे, breakfast किया और उसके बाद so on and so forth. My parents have a problem with it. Why? I'm like, are you less productive? They're like, no. It's just that I don't wake up at 7 a.m. I don't know what the obsession is with waking up at 7 specific a.m.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Even though I do it, but I don't understand it.
I also do it, but I don't know. I do it because it comes naturally to me. If somebody says now magically you have to wake up at 5 a.m., I don't think I can do it because it doesn't come naturally to me. And if I have to, if I must, then I have to create a system for it. I can't, if I wake up at 7 a.m., I'm probably sleeping at like 11 p.m. or 10 p.m.
Yeah.
If I have to wake up at 5 a.m., I have to sleep at 9 p.m. You can't expect a result.
Automatically just pass out at 9.
Exactly. So you have to create a system. Whatever you did at 8, you have to now do at 7. Whatever you did at 6, you have to now do at 5. Everything has to change, and it's not just for neurodivergent people, it's also for neurotypicals.
Yeah.
It's just that neurodivergent people constantly are thinking there's something wrong with me. If I just do this, everything will change. If I could just have a little more discipline. How will you have discipline?
Exactly. The discipline part just isn't a part of the equation.
Yes.
It's just not about discipline. It's about figuring out those systems, as you said.
Yes.
But losing that system, even when you have a system, you can still screw up.
Yeah. But you have to allow yourself to screw up.
Exactly. And this is what I really wanted to touch on this part, which is you had made a video and then I commented on it saying I'm going to go into full on like war mode or something of that sort. I've tried and I haven't gotten it yet. Like I made a couple of video attempts and I'm not getting it down right. But I thought, we could hang out and we're chit-chatting about this.
Yes.
So this is, so basically I had double booked myself.
Okay.
I had a friend's birthday to go to. and a friend's Eid party to go to.
Right. Okay.
I had said yes to both.
Hmm.
I realized all of a sudden, oh my God, these are on the same day, at the same time, in two different parts of the city. So I was like, okay. So I canceled on the Eid. I was like, this is my friend's 50th birthday. Got to be there for him. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry. And she said, fine, no problem. If there's anything left over, you want to come over in the
Hmm.
evening, come over, no stress. The friend who was supposed to go to that party with, she was like, what the hell? We were counting on you for coming. I'm like, I double booked. I can't help it now. So she said, and this is something I'm still pissed off about. We haven't talked about it, but we'll talk about it. You know who you are. Anyway, so she said, shame on you. And I said, no, no shame on me. I refuse to feel shame for this. This is not something I planned on. This is not something I intentionally did. I had to make adjustments to the plan because I had made a mistake. And these mistakes happen constantly because of ADHD. I have tried to keep everything in a calendar. I have tried to keep everything on
Yeah.
reminders.
Yes.
Things slip through the cracks.
Yes, they do.
And I just refused. I said, no, I'm not going to feel shame for it.
Yeah.
I have lived with the shame my whole life, and I'm still dealing with adjusting to that shame and not only accepting myself for who I am, but also allowing myself to be kind to myself.
Hmm.
And not because we are the first people to kind of start swearing at ourselves and calling ourselves losers for screwing up something. And I've done that my whole life.
Hyper vigilant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we are our own worst critics in the worst ways possible.
Yes.
Have you had this kind of an experience?
Oh, constantly. Constantly. I learn a lot of things from my husband. So this is one of the other things that I've learned from him. That you cannot be your worst critic.
You shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be. And you cannot afford to be.
Mhm.
If you want to live in this world which is constantly waiting for you to screw up, there are good people.
Yeah.
There are good people. But good people also can be insecure.
Mm.
Everybody doesn't go to therapy. People who need to go to therapy don't go to therapy. So people are insecure. People could be waiting to pull you down. There's a lot of crab mentality that you're just being,
Mm.
you cannot be a worst critic. Now, on days when I make a mistake, this also comes from whatever your childhood was. My childhood, I was not allowed to make mistakes. If I've made a mistake, I'm fucked. I'm sorry, can I swear?
Of course.
Okay. There's nothing you can do after you've screwed up. You can only cover up in whatever way. So I constantly had allies who would help me cover up. Constantly. Because
That's so nice.
because there was no way that I wouldn't screw up. It's not possible for a person to never screw up.
Yeah.
And I would make a lot of mistakes even after trying hard. And when I've made that mistake, बहुत ऐसे reprimand किया गया है कि तुमने ये क्या कर दिया, मतलब इतनी बड़ी गलती तुम कैसे कर सकती हो. Even with things like glass तोड़ देना या दरवाजा खुला रह गया या गाड़ी सही तरीके से नहीं खोली, which is like really small things for a child, right? So really sad with all of that. And I then grew up and became a person who would do that to myself. So that small voice in your head, you have to constantly ask yourself, whose voice is it? Is it your own voice? It can't be your own voice. It has to be somebody else's voice. And as soon as it is somebody else's voice, you have to stop listening to it. Only listen to yourself. Don't betray yourself in trying to do something. So if you've made a mistake, just accept that mistakes are possible. They're human. You are human. You are allowed to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. You can even go Google mistakes made today by people, random people. You'll find some journalist doing some random thing on live television.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Everything that you do after that mistake is very important. So I also have a problem with one thing, which is a lot of people make mistakes and then they say it is because of the abuse that I went through or my childhood trauma or it is because of my ADHD, which is totally fine. But what do you do after that? Do you take accountability for that? Are you going to apologize? A lot of people don't apologize, which I find is very sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you talk about shame, not just for neurodivergent people, I think Indians and shame, very complicated relationship. We've always been told to feel shame for everything. Sharam nahi aati is a very big thing. और जिस दिन आप समझ लो कि नहीं शर्म नहीं आती, मेरे को शर्म नहीं आती, अब आप बताओ आप क्या करना चाहते हो. That is the day I think things become better. For me, they became much better after that.
And I think that the connection between apologizing and shame
Yeah.
also is very tightly wound, where you can genuinely apologize for something without being ashamed of what you've done.
Yes.
And that's what happened at this incident.
Yes.
I apologized to my friend. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I double booked. I didn't see this coming, but I'll make it up to you. And I will try my best for it to not happen again.
So you've taken responsibility.
Yeah.
You've said it was my fault. Step 1 is done.
Yeah.
You've taken accountability and you've said, I will make it up to you. You've taken the next step, apologized and taken the next step. I will make it up to you. I don't know why shame has to be part of this equation.
Exactly, it doesn't. At all.
Shame is so complicated that I feel like we should just drop it.
And it's attached to way too many aspects of our lives. And not just ADHD, but generally in society in general.
Yes.
It's just attached to way too many parts of our lives. I really have to. I'm gonna really delve on this one. This is juicy.
Yeah, it is.
But I also wanted to kind of touch on one more thing, which was, wait a second, where did it go? It slipped away. Yes. So the same friend of mine.
I don't like this friend.
She's lovely. She's lovely.
No, I'm just kidding.
But she made a good point. She said, you keep sending me these videos about ADHD people and how normal people need to treat ADHD, people with ADHD. And why isn't there more content about how ADHD people should treat normal people?
Should I answer that?
Yes. Before I answer it, go ahead.
I don't know. It just seems like the answer is obvious.
It does. Yeah.
But still, I'll try. Why isn't there more content on how son-in-laws should be treated by their mother-in-laws? Do you know?
No.
There's a lot of Bahu content, if you've noticed.
Yes.
Yeah, I watch a lot of reels. So there's a lot of Bahu content. Every day there's a new Bahu Bahufluencer.
Oh my God.
Who's saying the content is constantly that this is my life as a daughter-in-law in this household and I don't like it. So it's a meme. I'll obviously talk about it in a funny manner so that there's some awareness of it. There's too much content on it. And then if you go read comments, you'll be really sad. So I don't recommend it. But if you're curious, you can. There's no content on how a son-in-law should be treated. Because the treatment is already good.
Yeah.
It's actually great. There is do you watch Vipul Goyal?
No.
Humorously Yours. So he has this stand-up comedy, stand-up show, which says, Tamaji aam kaat do. ठीक है, should go watch that. You'll understand what I'm saying. If anybody's watched that, they'll understand what I'm saying. The funny part about that stand-up show thingy piece is that the son-in-law is constantly being catered to. And son-in-law is always Vipul G. Daughter-in-law is never Shivani G. Daughter-in-law is Shivani. ठीक है. So, the son-in-law is being asked constantly दिन में 6 बार कि मैं आम काट के खिला दूं. Do you know any mother-in-law asking a daughter-in-law कि मैं आम काट के खिला दूं? I don't think it's possible. ठीक है. No way in hell. It's unimaginable कि ऐसा हो ही सकता है. It's the same kind of the same thing with neurotypicals and neurodivergent people. Neurotypicals, the world is made for neurotypicals.
Exactly.
What do you want me to do now?
Yeah.
The world is made for neurotypicals. Everything is made for you. If you have a totally able functioning body and you don't need a ramp, you're not going to think that there's somebody who needs a ramp because there are stairs everywhere. Ramps are not everywhere.
Yeah. And in this country,
in
Just
this
to
country.
digress, ramps are very, very new.
Very new. And wherever they're placed in the wrong way.
Yeah.
You'll see steep ramps, you'll see very small ramps. A wheelchair can never fit into that ramp, and a person on a wheelchair can never go up that slope. So it's all wrong. ठीक है. अभी न्यूरोटिपिकल्स को कैसे ट्रीट करें if you have ADHD, ये तो हम बचपन से सीखते हुए आए हैं. That is what masking is.
Exactly.
And I am constantly telling people to unmask. Please unmask. Although there are a lot of people who say they can't unmask because it helps them survive, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But I would still urge them to figure out some way to slowly unmask or mask very little as possible. But I get that it is very difficult. It's a coping mechanism, so it's not that easy to get rid of.
Yeah.
The world is built for neurotypicals. How am I supposed to cater to them more? Like,
Yeah.
I'm already trying to get to office on time, which is a neurotypical thing. But why do I have to get to office at 9 a.m.? I don't understand. If I get to my office at 9:15, will I not be efficient? I don't know. Do you have proof? No. But because it's convenient for you as a neurotypical to have a set time in mind so that you can make up your mind and say, Acha, now I'll work. That's why you've said, come to office at 9 a.m. My mind doesn't work at 9 a.m. I want to work at 7 a.m. Come to office at 7 a.m. You're not going to do that.
I'm thinking about a change to the studio times. Just thinking.
Right. So everything is built as per a neurotypical mind. Now, I don't know what else I can do to cater to a neurotypical mind. And I don't know why I need to.
Yeah. I mean, our entire, like what we've been talking about, our education is catering to neurotypical people. Our entire familial systems are built around neurotypical people in very subtle ways,
Yes.
in expecting you to do certain things and to clean your bed, to keep your cupboard clean, to keep your desk clean. I have been ridiculously messy my whole life.
Me too.
Inside of my cupboard, brilliantly organized.
Really?
Outside of my cupboard, chaos. So the root of all the shame that we have associated with this, that we have grown up with, all the self-criticism, all has stemmed from dealing with and trying to cater to neurotypical people
Yes.
and behave in the ways that they want us to behave.
Yes. You've used the correct term. Trying to cater to neurotypicals.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of series, one of which is what to do if your coworker has ADHD. What to do if your girlfriend has ADHD. What to do if your child has ADHD. One can ask, why do I have to specially cater to a person with ADHD? But I would like to ask, why have I had to my entire life cater to neurotypicals?
Yeah.
Nobody has an answer for that. अब आप ये भी नहीं बोल सकते कि न्यूरोटिपिकल्स का परसेंटेज ज्यादा है तो फिर तो मेजॉरिटी माइनॉरिटी की बात कर रहे हो फिर तो दैट इज तो इवन वर्स That's even worse.
Exactly.
You're telling me you're not treating me well because I'm a minority. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Some people actually think that way, though.
I know.
Yeah. And on top of that, we are what? 5% of the population, approximately. From the last I checked, I think we were about 5%.
I don't know, diagnosed or not diagnosed or...
So your emotional support friend, you were saying?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
All right, cool.
We broke up.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
My ADHD diagnosis brought me to a point where I realized, because I've been coping with it बहुत ज़्यादा, तो काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें आती हैं already. I've been able to manage a lot of it. That's why, so I got diagnosed by a clinical psychologist and not a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Which is why I feel my experience was better than most people. And the psychologist was recommended by my therapist of 3 years.
Okay.
So I really had a lot of faith in her, and the psychologist was also brilliant. It was a team of psychologists. They asked me so many questions, made me do so many questionnaires, made my husband do a questionnaire, interviewed him, made my friends do a questionnaire, interviewed them. Not a questionnaire, some questionnaires. They wanted my parents to be involved, and I said, Absolutely not. But okay. So not them. So I said I have a cousin, very close cousin, who's been with me since childhood, because they wanted to know if it's childhood ADHD or adult ADHD, late diagnosed or like just developed ADHD later.
I didn't know
I've
that was a
still,
thing.
yeah, I've still not done enough research on that, but I think that's what they wanted to figure.
Mhm.
So they said you've had ADHD all your life, bro. So I was like, okay, because my cousin said a lot of things and my childhood friend said a lot of things.
Mhm.
I feel like if they had my parents on board, they could have found out a little bit more about my childhood, which nobody knows, right? When I was really young,
Yeah, they interviewed my mom as well,
they did.
and she corroborated everything I said.
Hmm.
And so initially, I'd been diagnosed by my psychiatrist as ADHD with depression. And now I did this huge shebang of a test which spanned, I think, 3 days, about
Yeah.
an hour and a half,
Yes.
2 hours a day,
Yes.
spread over 3 weeks. And same thing.
How do you? I forgot my question.
How do you?
Don't remember.
Okay. We're just moving on, man.
I
We're
knew
just
it was
moving
going
on.
to happen. I just
Oh,
didn't
what's
know
that?
when.
Yeah, exactly. It happens.
It happens.
So, but that was, I mean, even though it was the exact same thing, the same diagnosis, it still gave me a lot of very interesting insights. I mean, I figured out my IQ is like 124, which is like, I think that's a good thing.
Oh, it's a brilliant thing.
Okay.
Above 110 is great.
Yes.
I think 90 is average. I think. I'm not sure.
Around.
I'm not sure. I've also figured out one thing. Neurotypicals will not like me for this. But I feel it's a theory
Hmm.
that anybody who's extremely intelligent is neurodivergent. Controversial take, but I don't care anymore actually.
But your husband.
He's not neurotypical.
Oh, okay.
I am sure I've told him like 100 times. I'm like, you can't be neurotypical. It's not possible.
Hmm.
He has very obvious signs of
Probably
autism.
ASD or something. Yeah.
Very obvious signs
Hmm.
because I live with him, so I know, and I'm also aware of what autism is and what the signs are, and also I understand. But
Yeah, I have
there's no
diagnosed
way
some people who are not doing diagnosed properly.
because there are obvious signs, and I feel like I'll tell you why also. The reason for this theory, it's not just random just to make myself feel good. No, it's because the brain, right?
Hmm.
It's been conditioned in a certain way, right? While we
Yeah.
were growing up. Now, neurodivergence, you can't condition them. They're just masking. You
Hmm.
can't condition us. We'll do whatever we want. You leave us alone for a minute and you see all the conditioning leave our body. it can't happen. So all these questions, things like atheism,
Hmm.
I feel it's impossible for a person who's neurodivergent to be religious.
I watched this video very recently. It's
Hmm.
about people with autism
Hmm.
who, since they don't understand, they don't connect with a lot of the social cues that we humans have. The whole congregation and being a part of a religious community is something that they just don't connect with, that they don't relate to. And that religion just evaporates
Yeah.
when it's faced with that kind of scrutiny and the complete disconnection. Like, why are you all in the same room together? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Yeah.
It is weird sometimes when I see really tight knit communities
Yeah.
just because they're part of the community. Matlab, it's not like they share some same thought process. They're just part of it. It makes me very queasy. It makes me feel like it's like some sort of a cult.
Especially when they're too happy.
Gives me a very Delulu vibe.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. I've been to
how
a couple of these. Have you
Delusional
heard?
are you?
Have you heard of this thing called something with an L? Forum, Landmark Forum. Have you heard of Landmark Forum?
I don't remember.
So there's this weird kind of congregation where people get together, and it's like group therapy, but with like 500 people, and
Huh.
and there's like one or two people who go up on stage, and then they're interrogated by the person who's hosting it, and their entire the psychological experience that they have on stage becomes like a learning experience for the rest of the group. And that is, first of all, I think, very dysfunctional. Like, I don't like it's not dysfunctional. I just think it's not appropriate. If you want to have a group therapy session, have a group therapy session. If you want to have a solo therapy session, have a solo therapy session with a professional. But these guys go through some weird informal education of their methods to be able to reconnect you with your family and stuff like that. So I went to one of these introductory sessions, and apparently, like doing an entire weekend with them cost some 7,000 rupees. But I'm talking about like 2005. So irrelevant. But
Still
everybody,
7,000 rupees.
everybody, way too happy. Hi, Abhijit. How are you? Oh, we've heard so much about you. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I hope you're going to stay and watch the entire thing. Oh, yes, yes. It's going to change your life. It'll be amazing. I'm like,
They do scare me a lot.
holy crap, get me out of here.
Yes.
So,
As soon as somebody says it's going to change your life, I'm
yeah.
like, no,
That's too weird for me.
I don't want to change my life. Firstly, let's just start there. I don't want to. I love my life. Even when I'm really sad, I love my life. It's okay. I will do something to change it. I remember my question. Now, can I ask?
Yes.
So, you said you were diagnosed with depression.
Mhm.
Was it a misdiagnosis because of your ADHD? And was the depression because of the ADHD?
Interesting. So I realized that if I am on opioid medication for an extended period of time, when I stop the opioid medication, I go into a deep depression.
Okay.
Which first happened when I was doing my MA in writing in England. And for 3 months, well, actually for the pretty much the whole of the second and third trimesters, I was barely functional. First, because of the opioids. And secondly, once I came off the opioids, I was into heavy depression and I couldn't get anything done. I
Was
would
it
just sit.
depression or withdrawal? Do
It
you
was
know?
depression caused by the withdrawal.
By the withdrawal. Okay.
And that's when the ADHD would get a lot worse.
Yes.
So they're correlated.
Yes.
And then the second time this happened, I had an arthritic attack. Again, I was on opioids for 2 months.
Okay.
Then when I came off, again, extreme depression.
Mm.
And that's when the depression diagnosis happened.
Okay.
And later on, once I was diagnosed with ADHD, I realized what had been happening and that I probably have had a low-level depression my whole life. Probably. Because of the ADHD. And that would just get aggravated because of the opioids. And now I just have that at a constant, I mean, it goes up and down, but the depression is pretty much constant. And now I just deal with it with therapy and meds.
Which makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So this is another thing that I want to talk about.
Mhm.
And I'm going to talk about on my channel as well. There are symptoms of ADHD. And there are things that ADHDers do to cope with the world that they exist in. They are not to be confused.
True.
They are constantly confused. Let me think of an example. Like time blindness is a thing that happens to people with ADHD. Like I don't know how much time it's been. We didn't know how much time it had been. I'm sure if you leave us in this room for 3 hours, we will not know it's been 3 hours. I'm 100% sure.
Absolutely.
Unless we get bored. That's a different thing.
That's a different
Then we'll know within a minute. But for sure, we won't realize. So time blindness is a thing. Hyperfocus is a thing, which is also correlated to time blindness, right? Because you don't know how much time it's been, how much time it's been since I've eaten or whatever. Perfectionism is not an ADHD trait. It is a result of ADHDers living in a world built by, for, of neurotypicals. They are just coping through perfectionism because their entire life they've been shamed, guilted. You're too, what do they call it? What is that Smurf? Clumsy Smurf. Yeah, you're too clumsy.
Oh, I love the
Just
Smurfs.
saw the visual of clumsy Smurf.
Ah.
You're so clumsy. I remember somebody watching the Smurfs film and saying, hey, clumsy Smurf is you only. I was like, correct. Yes, true. So you're so clumsy. And it's not positive. No matter how
Absolutely.
cutely you say it, it's not a positive thing to be clumsy. Okay. And for an adult woman, it's not positive to be clumsy. I don't want to be called clumsy. You're so clumsy, butterfingers, you drop everything, you're always late. So I am always early.
Flipping glasses over like this.
Yes. I'm always early because I'm constantly stressed that I'll be late.
You know, I have
So
anxiety,
I'm not early.
which I never thought I did have anxiety. but it's so internalized that nobody knows it because of ADHD. Because I'm always anxious, like, shit, I have to be on time, have to be on time, have to be on
Exactly.
time, have to be on time. Therefore, if I have to reach here, then I have to rewind. It'll take me about an hour and a half. Let's take 15 minutes more for traffic. Then I have to get ready by about another half an hour. Before that, I have to take a nap. And then we're like, I have to rewind all the
Typical
way.
ADHD.
And I say,
Typical.
okay, so I have to start getting ready now. Run.
Now. Yes. No, I agree. You know what I do? I get up in the
Hmm.
morning, I put makeup on, I wear nice clothes, and I sit. Whatever time I wake up, I just do that.
Shit's gonna happen. It's gonna come at me. I'm gonna be ready.
जो भी होगा, देख
that's
लेंगे,
awesome.
कोई बात नहीं. Because it is so stressful to constantly feel like, oh shit, what time is it? Oh shit, what did I? What?
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Constantly, and you're so tired. Burnout doesn't happen if you have ADHD. Burnout happens because when you have ADHD, you're constantly anxious. You're constantly trying to do things that you don't want to do, or you're not supposed to do, or I don't know. And then you get tired and you're masking constantly.
Yeah,
And then you're just tired. Your body just can't take it anymore.
absolutely. Just exhausted. I wake up at 7. I'm probably nap after breakfast until somebody turns up for the studio. And then I'm as operational as humanly possible till lunch. Take a nap after that. Because I need to. Because by this time, I've already burnt myself out once. Operating from whatever 10:30 to 3:30 or whatever it is. And then from 5 or something to 7:30, I'm like at it again. And then by 7:30, I'm like, my brain switches off.
Yeah.
So I've been sitting here with Anubhav and we've been discussing things, and then my brain goes completely bonkers, and I'm like, I can't handle shit anymore. I'm overwhelmed right now. I'm feeling very overwhelmed, and I don't know why. And I
Get
look at the watch,
overstimulated.
7:30.
Overstimulated.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
too much happening.
Yes.
And I'm like, look at the watch, it's 7:30. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm out. Finito.
But I'll tell you what, you've built, so this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. You've built a system around how you operate.
Yeah.
You're not trying to zabardasti ghusao yourself into a neurotypical way of doing things.
Yeah.
You're not.
And I want to be a place where non-neurotypical people can feel very comfortable working as well as neurotypical.
Exactly.
Do whatever you want.
This is the reason where I have a business.
Hmm.
You'll never see me asking anybody kitne baje aaye, kitne baje gaye, because I can't keep track.
Hmm.
I don't want to keep track. It makes me very stressed that I have to sit and wait कि 10 बज गए आ गए सब ऑफिस. भाई मेरे को नहीं पता कब 10 बज गए. मेरे को मेरा काम करने दो. I want to focus on my work and not think कि कब क्या टाइम हो रहा है. That's how I work. And I
Yeah.
want to have a system around that. Don't tell me it's 8 p.m. so now you can't work anymore.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason why I draw a line at 7:30, at least for me, I tell everybody else in this office, like by 7:30, get a life. Go out,
Exactly.
get a life.
Exactly.
Just do that.
I'm just constantly telling people, please do what works for you.
Absolutely.
Don't,
I
and
agree.
this is like general life advice, I feel.
Yeah.
Do what works for you.
Absolutely.
People, neurotypical,
You're here,
neurodivergent,
you're-
whatever.
Okay, good. Do what works for you.
Yes.
Just generally.
Please,
I'm
yes.
just putting that message out now.
Because
I'm opening up more.
no matter what
Huh.
you do, people are not going to like it. Whether
Yeah.
you're successful, not successful, according to them, not according to them, thin,
Some
fat,
nitpicky shit will happen.
whatever.
Yeah.
People don't like you. People are insecure. They don't like themselves, so they don't like you also. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it. Don't be those kind of people. Don't become those kind of people.
Mm.
Do what suits you. Do what you like. Do what works for you. Constantly keep doing what works for you. If you feel tired, like I have now started doing these things because I'm preaching, so I have to practice also.
Yeah.
I'm making content. I'm telling people, don't mask, don't mask. Are to you also don't mask, na? I also have to stop masking.
Absolutely.
So, if I have to stop masking, I have to first feel zero shame in who I am.
Absolutely. That is the toughest part to deal with.
That is the toughest part because and it's not a linear journey.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
You will go back. You will start to feel shame. Somebody will make you feel shame. And because you've already felt it before, the rebound is very, very possible, very much
Oh, yeah.
possible. So you go back, but then you come back. मतलब रोड है, आप आगे पीछे जा सकते हो, जरूरी नहीं है कि एक ही साइड आपको जाना है.
We're balls bouncing
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yes, back and forth. Go, कोई बात नहीं. I have to practice and I have started adapting to this and I've started, if I feel burnt out, I just stop working.
Absolutely. It's the only solution.
I used to not.
Ah.
I used to not. I used to drag myself through the burnout and I've dragged myself so often that I would physically fall sick. Which happened recently also. Physically unwell, all tests done, everything done. Test में कुछ कहाँ से आएगा? आपके physical body में कोई problem है ही नहीं. Mental part में problem है.
Yeah, even when I was in school and in adulthood as well, several times, if I've pushed myself too hard, I genuinely get body ache and a fever. I have to pass out. Like it just happens.
Yeah. I've recently, some shithead in my college life told me that 5 hours of sleep is enough.
Bollocks. Especially not for women. Women need more sleep than men.
I can't believe I slept only 5 hours for so many years. You know how much that's like messed up with my metabolism.
Is fucked up. Seriously.
With everything. I used to constantly be nauseous. Constantly. And I thought this is what my body is like. I feel nauseous. And to get rid of the nausea, I would eat random stuff. And then I would gain weight. And then eat stuff which my body is not tolerant of. Also because I forget what I'm allergic to. And I eat those things. And then again, obviously there's a problem. And then the cycle keeps repeating. You don't need to.
Yeah.
But nobody tells people all these things. This is a problem. I know It seems very obvious in hindsight because now I've been through that journey. I've come uske par. Theek hai, okay. But there's nothing that says this will not happen to me again in the next 3 months, 4 months.
It can totally happen. But I think that's a good place to kind of leave it for this time at least.
For sure. Also, with the message that therapy is the only thing, fortunately, unfortunately, but get a good therapist that keeps you on track because you're accountable to a third person, second person, third person, second person, second person. You're accountable to someone.
Yeah.
To stay on the track. That's it.
Just get therapy, guys.
Please get therapy.
Get diagnosed, get therapy, meds preferably if you can, because ADHD meds are the most reliable medication for any psychiatric condition known to man or woman or person.
I'm going to try this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this year because I just want to see. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm going to document that. Because I've been told that a lot of medication, ADHD medication, doesn't work on hyperactive kind and it works on inattentive ADHD because for inattentive ADHD, it gives a lot of dopamine. So it balances things out.
Yeah.
But for hyperactivity, it may not, the dopamine could do anything to you, make you more hyper or less focused. I don't know.
That's weird.
Just like, with coffee, a lot of ADHDers, coffee makes them sleepy.
Yeah.
A lot of ADHDers, coffee makes them very focused. For me, coffee makes me very focused.
Same here.
Alcohol makes me very focused.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
What about Kahlua? Coffee
I'll have to try. But espresso martini is...
Oh, yeah. That's got caffeine. That's got like... That's got Kahlua in it.
Yeah, it has.
And it's got an
yes,
espresso.
It does, yes. It has Kahlua. No, it has... what is that other...
Vermouth. Baileys!
Thanks, Pratiksha. Baileys in
Baileys.
it. Yes, it has Baileys in it.
Ah, lovely. All right, but we have to draw the line.
Yes, we have to. Yes,
we have stuff to do, and we have to wind down and relax.
Our brains are tired.
Indeed. But this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
And this has been fantastic.
It has been fantastic. But you have to invite me again, please.
Of course.
I have so many more things to say.
Let's do it. Anytime.
Done.
And thank you guys for joining us for this conversation. Hope you had fun with this, slightly different way of doing things. And just having a basic, general bitching session about life in general. It was really good fun.
Yes.
So subscribe, like if you do like this kind of content, because you will want more of it. And I think we've got a lot of good, real material. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Yes.
And until next time, guys, stay rational. See ya.